I'm terrible at pimping my stuff, so I thought dressing like a pimp might make it a little bit easier. I have blogs where you can read stuff and see things and interact with me. My main one is postmortemstudios.wordpress.com. My writing one and sort of diary blog is over at talesofgrim.wordpress.com. Hope to see you there. Iran's in the news, for all the wrong reasons. It's weird how 2020 is kicked off with the thoroughly wholesome new guy meme on the internet, which seems to have kind of declared a truce, at least around that, while in the real world things are already exploding and we're not even halfway through January. Fantastic. I know I still have quite a few right of centre and even quite hawkish watchers and followers. So I'm going to try to explain to you why the world has reacted to this in quite the kind of horror and distancing itself from the US way that it has. And it's not because they ain't nothing but a bunch of do-nothing Democrats and cucked Euro fags. So General Qasem Soleimani, I think that's how you pronounce it, there's no question really that he was a bad dude. He was the head of the Quds group. He was involved in arming, organising and training insurgents and terrorist groups all across the Middle East. You know, from the point of view of the West, from the point of view of America, this is a bad guy, right? And a lot of IEDs, or modern design of IEDs, can be traced back to Iranian intelligence and military services, the things that have killed a few hundred Americans as opposed to thousands upon thousands of Iraqis and others in the Middle East. That's all well and good, but this is something that the US and other Western powers have engaged in as well for a very long time. When you hear about military advisors being sent to certain areas or to train certain people, they're doing exactly the same sorts of things, just from our viewpoint. Now, if he was just a terrorist himself, this wouldn't have been such a huge issue necessarily. You know, irregular fighters aren't members of any particular state, whatever their claims otherwise. Terrorists just terrorize. They have no legitimacy. They're not agents of any particular state. They're certainly not, you know, figures in the government or the military of any particular state, by and large. Soleimani was, and Iran is a recognized and legitimate state, whatever beefs we might have with it. And assassinating a legitimate member of an organized military structure and an organized political structure from a legitimate state is a whole different kettle of fish so far as these kind of actions go. You know, when Obama rockets a terrorist group from a drone, right? Not the same thing at all. This is someone who was a member of a state, right? A decorated, respected in his own country military leader, you know, a political figure as well, and a social figure. And it is essentially against the few rules of war that we have to assassinate people in this way. It's illegal under international law and thereby illegal under the American Constitution, which makes international treaties that America enters into binding. This is grounds for impeachment, let alone anything else, what has happened here. But that's politics. The real problem and the real reason why everyone is horrified at what's happened is geopolitics. And yet again, it's not because they're just some sort of gang of goddamn pussies who gave up their rights to have assault rifles on sale at the supermarket. Fuck them. I mean, we can already see the geopolitical effects, the dominoes falling, right? Even Britain, America's closest ally, even under the Johnson government, even under a hard right conservative government, is distancing itself from what America has done. Europe, the other source of most of America's allies, has distanced itself from what America has done. This is the same throughout the world. About the only state that has backed America up is Israel, and yeah, that makes sense. just geopolitically, considering where Israel is and how important America is to Israel. So what's been the reaction? Iraq has had a so far meaningless vote to expel American troops from Iraq, which would severely curtail any American operations into Iran if they decide to step things up at all. We've had tit-for-tat threats. We've had an $80 million bounty put on Trump's head. Most people would probably kill him for free in the States, quite frankly. But there's that. In return, America has upped the ante and said that they're targeting 52 sites. Some of these are cultural targets, such as mosques, and this again is against the international rules when it comes to war and so on, and therefore is yet another impeachable offence on the part of Trump. Iran has said we're not going to abide by any parts of the nuclear deal, so they're going to be going hell for leather to develop nuclear weapons, and may well get help from Pakistan or other Islamic countries to do so, to get there quickly. And if North Korea is anything to go by, even one A-bomb, and they do have a fairly developed missile program, that changes everything, and it makes a lot of people back off. That's just the way it is. Nuclear weapons are so powerful and so horrendous that people want to avoid any nuclear detonations going off at all possible costs. So that would change everything. Though mutually assured destruction and atomic threats tend to rely on the idea that both sides are rational actors. You can't necessarily say that of Iran because of the involvement of religion in their structure, and you can't necessarily say that about America because you've got a senile idiot in charge of your country. Threats have been made against oil tankers and shipping, so the Royal Navy's shipped over some more ships to protect ships. That's a lot of ships in a sentence. So we can already see all these dominoes falling. Unrest is going to increase. Iran, that had been horribly divided, and there may have been eventually enough of a popular uprising to remove the current government, that's gone out the window. Nothing unites people like a common enemy, and across the Middle East, the United States is the great Satan, whereas we're only the little devils, apparently. This is why, right? It's fucked. Decades of effort to better diplomatic relations, to ward people off from developing nuclear weapons. It's turned Iraq against their liberators even more than they already were. It's increased tensions in the region. It's increased the likelihood of terrorism. It's united Iran when we could have seen some kind of democratic reform and popular uprising there. It's agitated Muslims across the world. United them against what America has done, and America has breached international law egregiously, openly, and with the known approval of its president. There is no deniability here, and that opens a whole can of worms, because if America can do it, maybe we can. That's why. That's why. Yeah, it is possible for two things to be true at the same time. Okay. He can be a horrible bastard, this general. He can have deserved death. He can have been involved in some shady shit, and it can still be a terrible idea to kill him, particularly in the manner that it was done. These two things can be true at the same time. Well, goddamn. Fuck all your motherfuckers, anybody. We can take them by ourselves. Fuck you. Now, there's little doubt that America's military can do what it always does, and it can thoroughly steamroller Iran. Iran has a pretty big military, but nothing compares to the US military in terms of sophistication, killing power, and just sheer size. So I don't think there's any doubt, even if Iraq boots all the Americans out, that they can take out Iran if they want to. Is it a good idea? Probably not. Do you really want to get involved in yet another $1 trillion quagmire in the Middle East, with people being blown up with IEDs, with insurgents, and the attendant increase in terrorism and so on that's going on? Probably not, right? But if you don't get in there, they're gonna have nukes sooner rather than later. So, catch-22, I guess. There's probably no way to really diffuse the situation right now. It is now irretrievably bad. Is it going to result in World War III? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I normally say if anyone makes any predictions, they're probably trying to sell you something, and you shouldn't take those predictions to heart. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. World War III is not going to happen. Now, it's a safe thing for me to say, because if World War III does happen, then none of us will be here to correct me. So, what is likely to happen? At least more airstrikes, some tit-for-tat terrorism that may be 6 months to 12 months down the line, that some kind of big terroristic attack will go off of some kind. We might see some small things and individual actions up until then. But World War III, probably not. At the high end, what I would predict would be a regional proxy war, with China and Russia backing Iran, and America and Israel pretty much going it alone against Iran. So we're looking at more of a Vietnam situation, more of a Korea situation than anything else. I think that's the likely probable outcome, because China's still a relatively rational actor. Russia is a rational actor. Iran isn't, but yeah, that's what makes them a perfect patsy for this kind of thing. And we'll just see the further erosion of American rights as these terrorist acts go on and on and on, and a huge amount of cost. And if there is an occupation, more hundreds, thousands of American lives. Nothing compared to the casualties that will be inflicted on Iran, but there you go. That's what we're likely to see. But there is little doubt in my mind that America can easily steamroller Iran in the same way that it has with Iraq and so on. But Iran's pretty canny and has a long, proud military tradition and history since they were the Persian Empire. I'm sure they've learned the lessons from what's happened to other countries in the region. And I'm sure they have plans and ideas in place. So there'll be a very short, very flashy, very explosive war in which the Americans can try out all their shiny new toys, and that'll be it. Happy New Year! Zang! You ready to go to war, baby? I need to get that gun of yours out and oil it. Oh, is that a carrier group? Oh, you're not scared that $37 billion carriers can be taken out by $1 million ASBM? Ugh, stealthing? You're such a bad boy. You really, really are. Those big guns. Do you want to use all your toys on me? All your weird, freaky toys? Your drones and your... I don't even know what the fuck they are. Is it a helicopter? Is it a plane? Is it both? I don't even know. Just the thought is getting me all oil-rich and strategic. Oh, I can't wait anymore. Do it. Invade me. Spray your soldiers all over my lesser Caucasus. At the end of World War II, the Axis and the Allies went to war with A-bombs until nobody was left to fight. In this atomic wasteland, a new breed of rockabilly hero arises. From the gleaming domes of Science City Zero to the sleazy roller derbies of Vegas and the sky fortress of the Fourth Reich, there's a new world for the taking. 45 Psychobilly Retropocalypse, available at lulu.com and RPG Now.
The police bring in reinforcements.
There was justice there, no poverty, and no violent crime. The children never cried.
And this is not a time to be dismayed. This is punk rock time. This is what Joe Strummer trained you for. It is now time to go. You're a good person. That means more now than ever.